Part 28. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 271. People have a herd mentality. When many people saw the Mi family exchanging the dragon coins without hesitation, they all put aside their hesitations and went to the trading house to exchange the dragon coins. When more and more caravans, led by the Mi family, exchanged dragon coins for dragon coins despite the low exchange rate, all the caravans no longer hesitated and exchanged the copper coins they carried for dragon coins. With the exchange rate of 1 to 2, Lu Feng successfully used Longguo Trading Company to make a fortune and cut off the caravans and aristocratic families of the 7 countries like leeks. With this large amount of handmade copper coins, the minters had new raw materials to cast dragon coins. The caravans from various countries who got the dragon coins also showed various expressions. The Mi family in Suzhou, represented by Mi Fang, the Lu family who followed Sun Ce and moved to Runan, and the Wei family in Hedong are all top merchant families in the world, with countless properties in their hands. Although they exchanged all the copper coins they had prepared for the auction in Dragon Kingdom into dragon coins, and the number was several times that of many small caravans, they did not feel distressed at all. Mi Fang is even very happy, because a high exchange rate will definitely scare away some competitors with insufficient funds, and the fewer competitors, the more likely he is to obtain Wei's agency at a relatively low price. As for the huge amount of copper coins he invested, they were just a drop in the bucket in the eyes of the Mi family, so he didn't care at all and didn't feel any distress at all. The Runan Lu family and the Hedong Wei family also had this idea, so they didn't care about spending a large amount of copper coins in exchange for dragon coins. However, the three of them could not care about these capital investments, mainly because they were already extremely wealthy, and the money they spent was not enough to damage their roots. However, many small family caravans feel very sad about such an exchange rate. In order to make money, they spent almost all their family's property before they made up their mind to compete with these big businessmen for the agency rights of Longguo fine wine. They only thought that as long as they could win the agency rights, they could transform their family from a third-rate or fourth-rate small family into the top family in the country. But apparently the money they paid exceeded their imagination. I thought I would come here this time, and since there were multiple bidders, I would get the best one. Even if the bid failed, I would not lose anything. But they didn't expect that if they wanted to participate in the auction, they would have to exchange copper coins into dragon coins in advance, otherwise they would not be able to enter the venue. Moreover, such a low exchange rate caused their property to be reduced by half in an instant. So at this time they even had some regrets. There are also some caravans, although their own strength is not as strong as the top merchants such as the Mi family and the Lu family, but their families also have a small amount of money. Although they don't feel sad about it, they don't care. Therefore, they are more nervous. They want to take away the agency rights at all costs, but they are also worried about this because of their own strength. However, no matter what the mood of these caravan people was, the Longguo fine wine auction started on time at Chenxi the next morning. The location of this auction was chosen at the Dragon City Academy branch in Xindu City. This Dragon City Academy was also newly built by Lu Feng after he established the capital of Xindu City. Since it is an academy in the capital city, even though the headquarters is still in Longcheng and its name is Dragon City Academy, as a branch, it is still one of the Dragon City Academies in various places. The largest among them. The largest book club in the academy can accommodate 2,000 people. And because it was built by a third-turn architect, although the bookstore is huge and very empty, the architect used his third-turn construction skills to make the speaker on the high platform in front of him speak loudly without using tools. And if you are speaking in the audience, no matter how loud your voice is, it will be controlled at a volume that others can hear but will not feel noisy at all. After the auction started, Zhen Yi, as the host, has been standing in front of the stage, presiding over the entry of caravans from various countries and assigning seats to them. The scene of this auction was very lively. Businessmen and aristocratic families from 8 countries gathered together. Such a lively scene and such a complete gathering had never happened before in history. Even the Dragon City Poetry Fair a few years ago was not as big as this auction. Although the literati from all over the world were gathered that time, each major family would only send 1 or 2 young men as representatives at most. As for this auction, everyone who came to participate must have brought a lot of money, so naturally, in addition to the businessmen who led the team to participate in the bidding, someone also had to be responsible for guarding and transporting the money. Therefore, the aristocratic families and businessmen who came to participate in the auction all brought at least 30 or 50 people. In terms of number of people, this auction was much larger than the last poetry fair. Lu Feng's ability to bring together the world's literati and the world's most wealthy businessmen twice demonstrated his extraordinary charisma and intelligence. As the auction officially began, everyone focused on Zhen Yi on the stage, and the venue instantly became quiet. First, Zhen Yi once again explained the meaning of agency. The so-called agency right is just the right to sell Longguo fine wine locally on behalf of Longguo. However, as the original product, this Longguo fine wine is only brewed in Longcheng, and the agents who have obtained the sales rights need to buy it back according to the original price of Longguo fine wine before selling it. Naturally, caravans without agency rights cannot purchase Long Kingdom fine wine. As for how much they are going to set the selling price, because it has gone beyond the scope of the Dragon Kingdom and has reached other countries, the Dragon Kingdom will no longer control it. Therefore, if no one buys the Dragon Kingdom fine wine after taking it back, the agent will even have to sell it below the set price in order not to lose everything. And if there are many people buying it, the agent can also raise the price on its own. Of course, Longguo fine wine has long been famous, so there will be no situation where it cannot be sold. Therefore, even if only the agency rights were auctioned, various merchant families still rushed to bid after the auction began. Some bought the agency rights of a county for 100,000 dragon coins, some bought the agency rights of a county for 1 million dragon coins, and some bought the agency rights of a state for tens of millions of dragon coins. After a morning of fierce competition, in the end, the Mi family of Suzhou, the Lu family of the Lusu family who followed Sun Ce and moved to Runan County, and the Wei family of Hedong all bid for 100 million dragon coins for Wei, Wu, and Lang respectively. Of agency, the Shu Kingdom Business Alliance and the Feng Kingdom Business Alliance also purchased the agency rights of the Shu Kingdom and Feng Kingdom for 100 million dragon coins. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 272. The so-called Shu Business Alliance is the official business team of Shu headed by Zhang Shiping and Su Shuang. Zhang Shiping and Su Shuang were both from Zhongshan, Jizhu. They were from the same hometown as Zhen Yi, but they had always been suppressed by the Zhen family's business. The two of them have been following Liu Bei since he started his army. After Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei formed an alliance in Daowen, they decided to recruit troops to fight for the Yellow Turbans. But because he had no money, he could not even buy his own horses, and weapons could only be purchased from the weapons eliminated by the officers and soldiers. As a result, Zhang Shiping and Su Shuang passed by with the caravan. They saw Liu Bei, the leader of the three, with his ears hanging down from his shoulders, his hands above his knees, his eyes focused on his ears, his face like a crown of jade, and his lips as if painted. Fat, at first glance, is not a mortal. And the 2 strong men behind him, one is 9 feet long, with a beard 2 feet long, with a face as heavy as jujube, lips as if greased, red phoenix eyes, and silkworm eyebrows, with a dignified and majestic appearance. The other one is 8 feet long, has a leopard's head with eyes, a swallow's jaw and a tiger's beard, a sound like a huge thunder, and a power like a galloping horse. At first glance, these 2 people are the most powerful generals in the world, both of them are brave enough to be worthy of any man. Zhang Shiping and the two knew that the Han dynasty was in decline and the Yellow Turbans were in power. It was already the beginning of troubled times. Judging from the appearance of these three people, they knew that they would have extraordinary achievements in the future. So he stepped forward to communicate with them. When he learned that they had just become sworn brothers and were preparing to form a self-defense force to help the officers and soldiers fight against the remnants of the Yellow Turbans, he immediately praised the three of them. When the two of them learned that Liu Bei and the others had no money and could neither afford war horses nor weapons, they immediately provided them with 500 taels of gold and silver, 50 good horses, and 1,000 kilograms of iron. Now the weapons used by Liu Bei and the others, Liu Bei's male and female double swords, Guan Yu's Qinglongyanyu sword and Zhang Fei's 8-foot steel spear are all made of this 1,000 kilograms of fine iron. So the two of them formed a good relationship with the three Liu Bei brothers. After Liu Bei became the shepherd of Yizhu, he specially sent people to bring Zhang Shiping and Sushuang to Yizhu to share the wealth. This time, Longguo Fine Wine was seeking agents in various countries. Liu Bei knew that he could not stop his own businessmen from going to Longguo, so he followed Jiasu's strategy and formed an official caravan to participate in the bidding. Since he could not stop his own businessmen, Jiasu suggested that he simply seize the agency rights himself, so that all the money earned from the Longguo wine sold in Shu would go directly to the Shu treasury. Liu Bei was originally worried about how to prevent Shu businessmen from participating in the auction, but after Jiasu's suggestion, he was immediately overjoyed, and Zhang Shiping and Sushuang led the team to the Dragon Kingdom. Because this Shu business alliance was funded by Shu King Liu Bei with money from the treasury, and Zhang Shiping and Sushuang also had some money, they overpowered other Shu caravans to take over their country's agency rights. The Fengakuo business alliance is also the official caravan of Fengakuo. However, this caravan is different from the Shu Kingdom business alliance, which is a business alliance between Shu Kingdom officials and private businessmen such as Zhang Shiping and Sushuang. Instead, this caravan is composed entirely of children of the Yuan family and is completely affiliated with Yuan Shao's royal caravan. With Yuan Shao occupying Yanzhou and one-third of Sizhou, and forming an anti-Lu Feng alliance with Cao and Lu Buletin, Yuan Shao has become a veritable leader of the new generation of the Yuan family. In addition, Runan had been occupied by Sun Ce's Wu state, so the Yuan family followed Yuan Shao to move to Siqing. In order to be able to drink Daolong state wine at the lowest price, the Yuan family's children formed the Feng State Business Alliance with Yuan Shao's tacit approval. As for the Kang Kingdom in Jiaozhou, because it was too far away, and Xixia had been cutting off contact with the Central Plains and wanted to split the land of China and become independent, merchants were prohibited from going to the Dragon Kingdom, resulting in no one from the Kang Kingdom coming to participate in the auction. In addition, because the Liang Kingdom was too barren and the merchants in the Liang Kingdom were not wealthy, the agency rights of the Liang Kingdom were eventually bought by the Liang Kingdom Business Alliance formed by Ma Teng at a low price of 50 million dragon coins. Compared with the transaction prices in the 5 countries of Wei, Shu, Wu, Feng, and Lang, this price is only half of theirs. This also reflects that the people of Liang State did not have much money left after the Qiang invasion. As the agency rights of Dragon Country fine wine in various countries were auctioned off by several caravans for huge amounts of dragon coins, the auction came to an end. However, before the caravans were about to leave Longcheng Academy and return, the host of this auction, Longguo's Chamber of Commerce Minister Zhen Yi, stopped everyone. He said loudly on the stage, "My colleagues, there is one more thing, because it involves the interests of the caravans that have obtained agency rights, so I would like to remind everyone again." Due to the design of Longcheng Academy, the people on the stage, the voice was much louder than the audience, and could cover the entire audience. In addition, Zhen Yi deliberately raised the volume, so after saying this, everyone looked at Zhen Yi. After all, they came here to participate in the auction to gain profits. Zhen Yi said that what he said next involved the interests of all agents, so they naturally had to listen carefully. Seeing everyone looking at her, Zhenyi said with a smile, everyone, originally handmade copper coins are completely unusable in the Dragon Kingdom, and the exchange for dragon coins has been stopped long ago. However, for the convenience of everyone, Our Majesty the Dragon Emperor specifically allowed it. The Dragon Kingdom Commercial Bank allows people other than the people of the Dragon Kingdom to come to the commercial bank to exchange dragon coins. However, the exchange time is only limited to 3 months from today. After 3 months, the dragon coins of the Dragon Kingdom will no longer be exchanged for copper coins. After everyone heard Zhenyi's words, they immediately exploded again. After all, according to the description of the previous bidding rules, dragon coins can only be used as the only currency in the Dragon Kingdom, and even if their caravans from other countries have won the agency rights, they can only use dragon coins to purchase the Dragon Kingdom. Fine wine is in stock. Because the caravans who had obtained the agency rights had already signed the agreement on the stage and paid the agency fees, they were all sitting together at this time. After listening to Zhenyi's words, Mi Fang turned to look at Lu Su next to her and asked Zijing, "What do you mean, Mr. Zhen? But even if we have agency rights in the future, we can't use copper coins to purchase goods." As a top strategist, Lu Su Zhenyi guessed his intention when he made this decision. So he smiled bitterly and said to Mi Fang and the people around Sushuang and Zhang Shiping, "That's right. The reason why the Dragon Emperor specially reminded us of this matter is obviously to allow the caravans from various countries to do their best in 3 months. Bring the copper coins at home to the Dragon Kingdom and exchange them for dragon coins. Otherwise, without the dragon coins in the future, we will not be able to buy the original wine from the Dragon Kingdom, and the agency fee of 100 million dragon coins will be in vain. What a big loss." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 273. Everyone was shocked after hearing Lu Su's analysis. The children of the Yuan family in the Fengakyo caravan immediately said angrily, "How unreasonable, isn't Lu Feng kid deceiving us? We are not from the Dragon Kingdom, so why can't we use Han copper coins to buy goods? To buy the fine wine from the Dragon Kingdom costs a lot. €1 trademark SOK to use dragon coins. You can exchange them for us at any time. We can €1 trademark T exchange them after 3 months. Doesn't a euro trademark T that force us to take out all the copper coins at home and exchange them for dragon coins? Why did a euro trademark T he tell me earlier? He should have known better. If this is the case, I really need to think carefully about whether to spend such a large price to buy this agency right." Hearing this Yuan family member say such disrespectful words to Dragon Emperor Lu Feng here, Mi Fang was frightened on the spot. He scolded, "Silence. Now we are all in the Dragon Kingdom, and we are surrounded by Dragon Kingdom guards. There is also Zhenyi, the Minister of the Ministry of Commerce, on the stage. There are the Dragon Emperor's spies everywhere. How dare you be so disrespectful to the Dragon Emperor? Don't a euro trademark T you want to live anymore? If you have lived enough, stay away from us and don't a euro trademark T involve us. We finally got the agency rights for Longguo fine wines, and we still want to get out of Longguo alive and go back to make money." Mi Fang finished her words. Although Lu Su, Sushuang, and others as well as people from the Wei family and the Liang Kingdom caravan next to him did not continue to scold him, they still glared at him fiercely and distanced themselves from him. This son of the Yuan family was used to being domineering in the Feng Kingdom. He had forgotten that he was now deep in the Dragon Kingdom, and that the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor Yuan Shao were in the same position. When Mi Fang said this, she suddenly broke into a cold sweat. She subconsciously looked around and found that the Dragon Kingdom guards, Zhenyi, and the people around her didn't hear her words. She was relieved. But he is now much more honest. Subsequently, Lu Su, Mi Fang, Wei Jia, Sishuang and others also immediately sent people back to their home countries to transport a large amount of copper coins to exchange for dragon coins. Of course, in order to survive in their own country, it is impossible for them to exchange all the copper coins in the clan into dragon coins, but how much they need to exchange naturally depends on the courage of each family. As for those families and caravans that have not been photographed with agency rights, they are also faced with the completely opposite choice. Some people didn't get the agency rights of Longguo fine wine, so they thought they couldn't do business with Longguo anyway, so they quickly exchanged the dragon coins they exchanged for copper coins to recover their losses. And many far-sighted businessmen and family heads, like Lu Su, Mi Fang, and others, also sent people back to the clan to get as many copper coins as possible and exchange them for dragon coins. When the young people under their command saw it, they asked very puzzledly, "We have not obtained the agency rights for Longguo fine wine, and the exchange rate between copper coins and dragon coins is so low. Why don't we exchange them back quickly, but we have to exchange them again, dragon coins?" Regarding the young disciples' question, these clan leaders were afraid that others would hear it, so they had to whisper in their ears, "Didn't you hear Mr. Zhenyi say that copper coins will no longer be exchangeable for dragon coins after 3 months? Regardless of this, the caravan that got the agency rights exchanged many dragon coins from the clan. They bought the original wine from the Dragon Kingdom, but they only went out, not in. Sooner or later, all the accumulated dragon coins will be spent. By then, the Dragon Kingdom Trading Company will no longer be able to then provide them with dragon coins, and if we have dragon coins in our hands, we can naturally exchange them for them at a higher price. And as other countries have fewer and fewer dragon coins, we can gradually increase the exchange rate, let alone now it's 2 for 1. Even if we decide it to be 3 for 1, 5 for 1 or even 10 for 1 in the future, they can only pay silently." After hearing the words of the patriarchs, the young people immediately understood the truth and were overjoyed at the moment. Running towards the stable, wanting to get the copper coins to exchange for dragon coins as soon as possible. As more and more caravans returned to their home countries to transport handmade copper coins to the Dragon Kingdom, the news quickly spread throughout the countries, and the kings of each country fell into panic. They tried their best to unite to resist the dragon coin, prevent the import of dragon coin, and wanted to cut off the Dragon Kingdom's trade with the outside world, thereby causing the Dragon Kingdom's economy to collapse. However, they did not expect that the Dragon Emperor would easily resolve their methods. These caravans want to purchase goods from the Dragon Kingdom, and the wealthy families who have obtained agency rights want to sell the Dragon Kingdom's fine wine. They must exchange dragon coins. The import of dragon coins is inevitable. At this time, in the Wei Palace in Jianyi, Yangzhou, Cao also heard about the major caravans returning to the country and transporting dragon coins from the clan to the Dragon Kingdom in exchange for dragon coins. So he urgently called for counselors such as Sun Yu, Chen Yu, and 11's He to discuss countermeasures with them. Cao first said, "Everyone, I believe you already know the matter. I won't say more. If you have any views and opinions, just say it directly after." Cao finished speaking, Chen Yu was the first to stand up and said, "Returning to your Majesty, we have already issued an order that the entire Wei state does not recognize the purchasing power of dragon coins, nor does it recognize it as currency, and it is strictly prohibited to use dragon coins in the Wei state. This has been clearly stated 2 months ago. However, now, since these merchants disregarded His Majesty's imperial edict, wantonly exchanged dragon coins for use, and promoted it with such high fanfare, they have obviously violated the laws of our country. Therefore, His Majesty Chen Jianyi made a decisive decision and sent troops to suppress merchants from all over Wei state by force. Resolutely prohibit them from using dragon coins, and those who disobey the order will be killed. If they persist in admonition and the family commits a crime, the 9 clans will be punished. In this way, even if the merchants want to use dragon coins, they will not dare to use them because they are afraid of His Majesty. After Chen Yu finished speaking, without waiting for Cao's reply, 11's He retorted, Zhong Dagong's plan is not feasible. Now, not only our country, but also caravans from other countries have smelled the business opportunities of Longguo's fine wine, and have already taken photos of it. We have obtained agency rights in different regions. And with the successful example of Zhongshan Zhen family, with the character of the businessmen, it is obviously impossible for them to give up such a rare opportunity to make money easily. Moreover, there are so many businessmen in our country who are rushing to exchange dragon coins. If we want to kill them all, I'm afraid that not only will our country's population be reduced by half, but it will also cause panic. If the Dragon Kingdom and the Wu Kingdom take the opportunity to attack, our country will be in danger. Chen Yu said, I just want to get rid of the evil leader. Destroying the Mi family in Suzhou is just killing chickens to scare monkeys. Sun Yu obviously agreed with 11's He's view, so he said even killing just the Mi family is not feasible. Not to mention that the Mi family is huge in Suzhou, even if they are all destroyed, clan, other merchants will get agency rights again. Do we want to kill them again? 11's He continued, it is not advisable to suppress it with force. The merchants themselves are not terrible, and they can be destroyed with a flick of their hands. But once everyone is angered, merchants, let them flee collectively into the Dragon Kingdom, and Wei's economy will collapse instantly, and the gains will outweigh the losses. After hearing 11's He's words, Cao couldn't help but sigh, what a dragon emperor, I am not as good as me. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 274. After Cao sighed, he continued to look at 11's He and asks He, I must not ignore Lu Feng's attempt to infiltrate dragon coins into our country. Since you said that force cannot be used to suppress merchants, do you have anything else? Can the strategy stop Lu Feng? After listening to Cao's words, 11's He sighed and said, Your Majesty, the importation of dragon coins is inevitable now, and I have no way to stop it. After hearing this, Cao couldn't help but sigh. Taking a breath, 11's He, as his chief advisor, since there is nothing he can do, there is obviously nothing he can do. So Cao couldn't help but think that Lu Feng was not only invincible in battle, but his own martial arts skills were unparalleled in the world. Coupled with his literary talent far beyond ordinary people, this had already impressed him. But I didn't expect that in addition to these advantages, he also has such an extraordinary mind and foresight in management. I am afraid that he is unbeatable at this moment. The more Cao thought like this, the more he felt the huge gap between himself and Lu Feng, and he felt dull at the moment. However, when he was lost in thought, 11's He spoke again, Your Majesty, although I can't stop the Dragon Emperor from importing dragon coins to our country, there are ways to minimize the losses. After hearing 11's He's words, Cao came instantly. After getting excited, he immediately asks He has any good ideas, please tell me quickly. 11's He said, for the current plan, we can only recover the losses as much as possible by following the example of the Dragon Kingdom and minting new currency. Cao listened. After hearing 11's He's words, he frowned and asked, forging new currency? This can't stop the flow of dragon coins to our country, so what's the use? Regarding Cao's doubts, 11's He explained with a smile, Dragon Kingdom launched dragon coins. And in other countries, 2 Han-made copper coins can be exchanged for 1 dragon coin. Moreover, dragon coins must be used to trade or purchase their goods in the Dragon Kingdom, so they can accumulate a large amount of wealth in a short period of time. Our country will follow suit. They can also cast Wei coins and implement it in their own country now, and find opportunities to sell our country's exclusive products to other countries, and they can only use Wei coins to purchase them. When other countries want to buy our products, we will also exchange them for 1 at an exchange rate of 2. 1 Wei coin can be exchanged for 2 Han copper coins. In this way, even if our caravan wants to buy long country wine and other goods from the Dragon Kingdom, it can completely exchange one Wei coin for one Dragon coin. Purchase. This will reduce the flow of large amounts of funds to the Dragon Kingdom and thus our country's economic losses. After hearing 11's Hikei's complete plan, Cao was overjoyed and clapped his hands and said Hikei still has a way, so that we don't have to. I'm worried that our country's funds will be reduced. At this time, Sun Yu added Cai's plan is indeed a clever plan, but there is one more thing that we need to think about in advance. After hearing this, Cao looked at Sun Yu in confusion, but after hearing this, he asked what Gongda said, but what kind of items should be used to push it to other countries. Sun Yu smiled and said, exactly. I haven't thought about each country yet, but it will take time to design and mint new currencies, and it will also take time to replace all domestic handmade copper coins with Wei coins. Let's use this time to come up with a solution as soon as possible. At the same time, not only was Cao faced with the dilemma of importing a large amount of dragon coins into his country and losing a large amount of his own funds, other countries were also facing the same problem. In this regard, 11's Hikei came up with the idea of a euro casting new currency. Zhou Yu, the super strategist of Wu State, Jia Su, the super strategist of Shu State, Tianfeng, and Zhu Xiu, the two top strategists of Feng State, and Chen Gong of Wolf State, also I thought of this method one after another. Therefore, they all immediately proposed the idea of a euro minting new currencies to their respective kings Sun Ce, Liu Bei, Yuan Shao, and Liu Buletin. Regarding their opinions, the kings of various countries naturally adopted them immediately after seeing Lu Feng's benefits. At the same time, although Ma Teng of Liang Kingdom did not have top advisors like other countries to advise him, he knew his own weakness, so he had already sent a large number of spies to lurk in various countries. Therefore, after spies lurking in various countries came to report that the other kings were minting new currencies at the suggestion of their own advisors, Ma Teng decided to follow their lead and designed and minted Liang Kingdom's currency. Among the 8 major kingdoms in the world, only the Kang Kingdom in Jiaozhou did not take any action. Although Lord Shixi of the Kang Kingdom also had spies among the Central Plains countries and had been providing him with information about the Central Plains countries, he also knew that the Dragon coin had invaded the other 6 countries, and that each country was casting its own currency. However, because he has been seclusion in Jiaozhou and has no contact with the 6 countries of the Central Plains, and because he feels that the current situation is quite good, there is no need to waste manpower and material resources on designing and minting new currencies, so he has not taken any action. As the other 6 countries except Kang Kingdom are busy launching their own new currencies, and the Dragon Kingdom has completed its currency reform, the world's currency has ushered in a major reform. After designing new currencies, various countries have encountered a new problem, that is, how to make their people willing to use the new currencies. In this regard, Jiasu, 11's Hikei, and Zhou Yu were the first to think of a way to imitate the Dragon Kingdom again and establish their own trading houses in every state and county in the country. At the same time, the same method was used to encourage people to take all the copper coins at home to commercial banks and exchange them for new currencies at a 1-to-1 exchange rate. Then set a good time. After 1 month, the original handmade copper coins will no longer have the ability to purchase goods, and when the time comes, they will stop being exchanged for new currencies. In this way, it can be regarded as forcing the people to exchange the handmade copper coins in their hands into the national currency as soon as possible, speeding up the currency reform. However, although countries can follow the methods of the Dragon Kingdom to complete domestic currency reforms, it is not as easy as the Dragon Kingdom to import their own country's currency to other countries. Therefore, in order to import their own country's currency to other countries, monarchs and councillors in various countries are racking their brains to find ways. Only then did they think about how great it would be if their own country had a popular product like Longuo fine wine. That would be much easier. But it's not easy to create such an iconic product. You know, Longguo fine wine has been popular all over the world since a long time ago. Moreover, the Dragon Kingdom not only has fine wine, but also the Dragon City rice paper and serialized newspapers that have become popular all over the world. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 275. Products produced by the Dragon Kingdom must be high-quality products. It seems that as long as something is made by the Dragon Kingdom, or even something linked to the Dragon Kingdom, you can make a lot of money. For example, the fine wine of the Dragon Kingdom is famous all over the world, and no one comes to a dinner party unless they drink the fine wine of the Dragon Kingdom. Another example is the serialization of newspapers and periodicals in the Dragon Kingdom, which is very popular all over the world. Even if the publication volume is increased, the supply is still in short supply. In addition, Longguo rice paper has spread all over the world. Nowadays, literati write, officials write letters at work, ordinary people write letters, and students study and study. Bamboo slips have long been eliminated, and Cai paper has even been used as a toilet paper. Such products produced by the Dragon Kingdom are so popular that they even make the kings of various countries and their counselors and ministers think that the Dragon Emperor has been planning for the reform of Dragon coin many years ago. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 months, caravans and even royal families from various countries worked hard to make money in their own countries, and then took the money to the Dragon Kingdom to exchange for Dragon coins, and then used the Dragon coins to buy these things produced by the Dragon country and went back to continue to make money. This cycle continued so that the countries spent another 3 months in peace. During this period, the countries seemed to have given up war and hatred, and continued to carry out various trade activities just like in the peaceful times of later generations. Of course, the center of trade was still the Dragon Kingdom. At this time, Guoqia, Sun Yu, and others jointly suggested to Lu Feng in the morning, the 3-month agreement made by your majesty that day has arrived. Please order the suspension of the Longguo Trading Company in various states and counties, the caravans and royal families of various countries exchange it for Dragon coins. The rule that Zhen Yi mentioned during the auction to stop exchanging Dragon coins after 3 months was originally set by Lu Feng. At this time, Guoqia and Sun Yu were reminding him, so naturally he would not refuse to listen. So Lu Feng said, fortunately, Feng Xiao and Wenruo still remember the time, otherwise if you can continue to exchange Dragon coins after the 3-month period, it will definitely cause unnecessary trouble. If that happens, it will not only be my words. ETA Euro trademark S unbelievable, and the caravans from various countries will also say that we just want to trick them into converting the money in their hands into Dragon coins as soon as possible, and make money from them through this method. Since the 3-month period has expired, we will issue an order today to the commercial banks in various places. Starting from tomorrow, everyone will stop exchanging copper coins for Dragon coins, and the copper coins will be fully recycled. Whenever copper coins are seen on the market, they will be directly collected by the commercial banks and kept to be minted into Dragon coins. In order to fully implement this order tomorrow, Feng Xiaoi, after you know how to retire from the court, you can find a more reliable red-blooded dragon cavalry soldier and ask him to ride a golden eagle to each county to deliver orders. After Guoqia heard Lu Feng's order, he immediately raised his hands and said, I obey the order. But your majesty, I still have something I want to say. Lu Feng listened to Guoqia's words and said with a smile, there is nothing wrong with being a filial piety. As long as it is beneficial to the development of our country, it doesn't matter. Guoqia knew that Lu Feng he has always trusted himself very much, and it can even be said that he obeyed his words. What he said just now was just a formality to express his respect for Lu Feng. In fact, he had already thought about what he wanted to say. When Lu Feng asked him to speak, he said directly, nowadays, all countries are exchanging Dragon coins to buy our country's goods. The exchange rate of Dragon coins is now 2 handmade copper coins can be exchanged for 1 Dragon coin. Although this exchange rate is relatively high, I still have a way to make the dragon coins more purchasing power. After hearing Guojia's words, Lu Feng suddenly became interested, so he asked, what can Feng Xiao do? Don't hold back, just tell me. Guojia said, the way is to stop minting dragon coins in a short period of time and ensure that the number of dragon coins is not too large, so as to make the dragon coins more popular. The coins are more valuable. Lu Feng was very surprised after hearing Guojia's words. He didn't expect that Guojia could think of such a method as hunger marketing. If Lu Feng hadn't traveled through time and hunger marketing had been widely used in his previous life, he would never have thought of this. And this was originally what Lu Feng planned to implement next, but he didn't tell others. But Guojia didn't have any inspiration. He even thought of it on his own without having seen this kind of marketing method before. This is enough to show Guojia's extraordinary mind. Subsequently, Lu Feng followed Guojia's suggestion and announced that not only would all county commercial banks stop exchanging dragon coins, but they would also stop minting dragon coins in a short period of time. As soon as this news came out, the world was shocked again. This means that not only will there be fewer and fewer ways to obtain dragon coins in the future, but the number of dragon coins circulating in the market will also gradually decrease. If caravans from various countries want to purchase goods from the Dragon Kingdom, buy Dragon Kingdom's fine wine, newspapers, and rice paper, they must find ways to earn dragon coins from the private sector. After these 3 months of operations, merchants such as Suzhu Magia, Runan Luya, Hedongwajia, Shu Kingdom Business Alliance, and Fengakyo Business Alliance, which have obtained the agency rights of Longguo Fine Wines, have earned back the funds they originally invested in the auction. 1/3. If they want to make money from this, or recover their costs, they must find a way to get more dragon coins to buy Dragon Kingdom fine wine from Dragon Kingdom at the set price. As a result, various caravans began to turn their attention to the private sector, hoping to obtain dragon coins from the private sector. At first, they exchanged 2 pieces of their own country's currency for 1 dragon coin according to the exchange rate of the Dragon Kingdom. However, except for the Dragon Kingdom, the number of private dragon coins in various countries was not large, so they had to exchange dragon coins from the caravans who had participated in the auction but did not get the agency rights. Merchants from various countries who saw the business opportunities immediately began to sell dragon coins at a higher price in order to obtain more benefits. With the continuous speculation, the exchange rate of dragon coins gradually increased. As a top strategist today, Lu Su had a premonition at the auction that as the Dragon Kingdom Commercial Bank stopped exchanging dragon coins for caravans from various countries, the value of dragon coins would gradually increase. So he left a small number of people in the Dragon Kingdom to continue to inquire about information and pay attention to the changes in the situation, while he himself took most of the caravan members to buy a large amount of Long Kingdom fine wine and transport it back to Runan. At the same time, he explained the policies of the Dragon Kingdom to the elders of his clan, and also told the elders his judgment. He argued with reason and finally persuaded the elders to take more than half of the copper coins in the clan and return to the Dragon Kingdom to exchange for dragon coins. After hearing Lu Su's judgment, Mi Fang also returned to Suzhu with the fine wine of the Dragon Kingdom and told Mi Zhu about it. Mi Zhu also agreed with Lu Su's point of view and took out half of the copper coins in the clan in cash and went to the Dragon Kingdom to exchange them for the dragon in person currency. But many caravans who did not have such foresight were not so lucky, so when the small amount of dragon coins they exchanged at that time ran out, they had to buy dragon coins from other wealthy clans. Later, it developed into the exchange of 10 currencies of various countries for 1 dragon coin, and the purchasing power of the dragon coin skyrocketed instantly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 276. Faced with the rising value and purchasing power of Dragon Coin, neither Guojia nor Sun Yu, nor even Zhen Yi, who was a businessman, expected that its value would increase so rapidly. According to the information sent back by intelligence personnel from various countries, the value of Dragon Coins has now increased 5 times compared to the beginning, or even when the suspension of minting Dragon Coins was just announced. Although they had long thought that as long as the number of Dragon Coins was limited, the value of Dragon Coins would inevitably increase, they never imagined that the value of Dragon Coins would increase so rapidly. However, Lu Feng, who had known the results of hunger marketing for a long time, did not have much reaction to the price increase of Dragon Coins. After all, in his mind, the exchange rate of 1 to 10 was far from the end. Seeing Zhen Yi and others so surprised, Lu Feng couldn't help but smile. Nowadays, 1 Dragon Coin can be exchanged for 10 currencies of other countries. What's so surprising to you? In my opinion, if we can't exchange 1 for 20, none of the strategies are successful. Compared to Lu Feng's ideas, Zhen Yi was obviously not that optimistic. He said to Lu Feng, "Your Majesty, this currency is just a tool to purchase items. The value of items remains unchanged, and the value of currency, how can it remain at such a high level? I have never seen such a situation in my whole life as a businessman. Therefore, I believe that when time stabilizes, the price of Dragon Coins may fall back." Compared to Lu Feng's optimistic and pessimistic about Zhen Yi, Guoqia and Sun Yu are not good at economics, so they just keep silent and try their best to use their brains to imagine the possible final results. After listening to Zhen Yi's words, Lu Feng stopped arguing with him and said with a smile, "In that case, let's see what kind of development will happen in the end." Compared with the Dragon Emperor Lu Feng, he in the Dragon Kingdom, while his ministers were relaxed, the other countries seemed a little flustered. At this time, they have seen that every new policy issued by the Dragon Kingdom is not promulgated casually, and these policies seem to be carefully planned by the Dragon Emperor, which will bring about earth-shaking changes in the current situation. So I don't Euro trademark T know what the purpose of the policy launched by the Dragon Emperor to no longer mint Dragon Coins is, and what impact it will have on the current situation. However, after receiving the news, 11's He, the Prime Minister of the Wei Kingdom, although he did not know what the Dragon Emperor's purpose was, he was still keenly aware that the Dragon Kingdom must have a plan that could change the current situation. So 11's He found Cao immediately and admonished him, "Your Majesty, now the Dragon Emperor has announced that it will no longer buy Dragon Coins in a short period of time. Therefore, please order Your Majesty, and the royal family will personally take action to arbitrarily collect Dragon Coins from the people or merchants. Exchange Dragon Coins for as much as you can get, the more the better, the faster the better." Although Cao didn't know why, he was so anxious when he saw 11G that he was already sweating profusely and panting. He knew the situation may be very urgent, so out of trust in 11's he agreed to his suggestion. After ordering all the city guards and all officials and soldiers in Suzhou, Yangzhou, and Jingzhou counties under the rule of Wei to collect Dragon Coins, Cao finally took the time to ask 11's the reason. He said to 11's He, "Why did Lu Feng order no longer to mint Dragon Coins, so you collected and exchanged them for Dragon Coins? What kind of conspiracy did Lu Feng have in this? Please tell me quickly, I also have some. Be prepared." 11's He listened to Cao's words, pondered for a while, and then shook his head and said, "Your Majesty, I can't figure out what the Dragon Emperor's intentions are." After hearing this, Cao asked, even more puzzled, "Since you don't know his intentions, why would you suggest me to collect Dragon Coins? You must have a reason, so just tell me your guess." After hearing this, 11G thought for a while, organized his words, and said, Cao said no matter what the Dragon Emperor's intentions are, he ordered no more Dragon Coins to be minted. The purpose is to reduce the flow of Dragon Coins in various countries. Therefore, I believe that no matter what happens in the end, as long as we can, the more Dragon Coins you have, the less passive you will be in various situations that may arise later. CAO's own mind is also very flexible, so after listening to Eleven's Hike's explanation, he understood instantly Eleven's Hike a Euro trademark's idea. So he said what's Hike said makes sense, and your idea is very correct. No matter what Lu Feng's purpose is, as long as we can master enough dragon coins, we can block it with troops and cover it with water. Eleven's Hike listened. He smiled and praised, Your Majesty is wise. Because Cao had a super counselor like Eleven's Hike under his command, and Wei and Long were neighboring countries and relatively close to each other, so he acted immediately under Eleven's Hike's plan. There was a reaction. At the same time, Wu and Shu, who also had super counselors, responded quickly. After receiving the news that the Dragon Kingdom had suspended the casting of dragon coins, the Prime Minister of Wu State Zhou Yu and the Prime Minister of Shu State Jia Su immediately proposed to Wu Emperor Sun Ce and Shu Emperor Liu Bei respectively to purchase dragon coins on a large scale. However, because Yuzhou and Yazhu were relatively far away from the Dragon State, they received the news half a day later than Wei State, resulting in their speed being slightly slower than Wei State. However, the next day, Chen Gong, the Prime Minister of the Wolf Kingdom, finally thought of the same idea as Eleven's Hike and others, so he hurriedly made the same suggestion to the Emperor of the Wolf Kingdom, Lu Buletin. On the afternoon of the next day, Tian Feng and Zheshao, the two top advisors of Feng Kingdom, also found out the way to acquire dragon coins after some discussions, so they immediately proposed this suggestion to Emperor Yuan Shao of Feng Kingdom. Another day later, Ma Teng in Liangzhou heard a report from spies, saying that the kings of various countries were ordering their armies to purchase dragon coins from the people on behalf of the royal family. Although Ma Teng didn't know the reason, since all countries were doing this, they must have their reasons, so he also began to order the acquisition of dragon coins. Within 2 days, the royal families of various countries had almost monopolized the dragon coins circulating in various countries. Therefore, if the caravan wants to go to the Dragon Kingdom to purchase goods and needs to exchange a large amount of dragon coins, it can only go to the royal families of various countries to exchange them. Moreover, the royal families of various countries have made the same regulations, that is, if dragon coins are exchanged, they can only be exchanged with the currency of their own country. Some caravans have finished exchanging their own dragon coins and can only exchange them in other countries. When arriving in other countries, they must use their own country's currency to first exchange for the currency of the current country, and then use the currency of the current country to exchange for dragon coins. Because Wei was the first to acquire dragon coins, they hoarded the most dragon coins. Naturally, there were more caravans exchanging dragon coins to Wei, and the price of Wei's currency also increased. Calculated in this way, there will eventually be differences in the purchasing power of currencies of various countries. 1 dragon coin equals 10 Wei coins equals 12 Shu coins equals 12 Wu coins equals 20 Wolf coins equals 20 Phoenix coins equals 30 Liang coins equals 50 Kang coins. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 277. As the number of dragon coins held by various countries has stabilized, the purchasing power and value of each country's currency has gradually reached a balance, and there are no longer violent fluctuations. In this regard, some kings of various countries are naturally happy and some are worried. Besides Lu Feng, the happiest person was naturally Cao. Although there is already a huge gap between Wei coins and dragon coins, as Eleven's Hike said when he suggested Cao mint Wei coins, they have successfully minimized the losses caused by importing dragon coins into Wei. It takes 10 Wei coins to exchange for 1 dragon coin. Although the gap is huge, as the second most valuable Wei coin, its value has reached twice that of Feng Kingdom and Lang Kingdom, 3 times that of Liang Kingdom, and Kang Kingdom. 5 times. Even compared to Wu and Shu, which reacted equally quickly, the value of Wei coins is slightly higher than them. Although this small gap is not a big difference when purchasing a small amount or a commodity of low value, if a large quantity or a commodity of relatively high value is purchased, the gap between Wei coin and the two will become instantly apparent. At this time, Cao had already experienced the feeling that Lu Feng had when he first launched the dragon coin. He was indeed physically and mentally refreshed. Compared with Cao, Liu Bei of Shu and Sun Ce of Wu were a little more depressed. Although they, like Cao, had super counselors under their command, and the super counselors did provide them with the same advice as 11's He at the first time, they also followed it immediately. However, because the distance between the two countries and the Dragon Kingdom was slightly farther, when the news was received, it was already half a day later than the Wei Kingdom. This also resulted in the value of their two coins being slightly less than the Wei coins. But compared to the other four countries, they can still accept it. But Emperor Lu Buledin of the Wolf Kingdom and Yuan Shao, the Emperor of the Feng Kingdom, were not so lucky. Like Cao of the Wei Kingdom, they were neighbors of the Dragon Kingdom, but they wasted their geographical advantage and did not respond accordingly in the first time. Therefore, today a euro trademark S currency the value is at the bottom. Emperor Ma Teng of the Liang Kingdom was even more angry. The Liang Kingdom was located in Liangzhou and was not rich to begin with. Now that the value of Liang coins was at the bottom, the people of the Liang Kingdom would surely become even poorer. As for the Emperor of Kang Kingdom, Shi Xie, he did not even plan to mint currency at the beginning, but when he saw that the other 7 countries had their own currencies, he was still unwilling to accept it, so Kang coin was born. However, due to the long-term seclusion of the country, there are no Dragon Kingdom products and dragon coins in Kang Kingdom. Therefore, the price of Kang Kingdom's Kang coins is not much different from that of Han copper coins, and they have become the cheapest currencies. However, Shi Xie didn't care about this. He only minted Kang coins to consolidate his rule and let the people of Kang country have a sense of belonging to Kang country. Of course, among the 8 kingdoms, the happiest one is Lu Feng, the emperor of the Dragon Kingdom. The purchasing power of Dragon coin ranks first in the world, and it is 10 times better than the second-placed Wei coin. This is enough for an ordinary family in the Dragon state to become a rich man in the Wei state. Because what every common person in the Dragon Kingdom spends and earns is Dragon coins, and the Dragon coins they use are the same as the original Han-made copper coins. In other words, a person who originally earned 1 copper coin per day now earns 1 Dragon coin per day. His original daily income was enough to live for 1 day in Wei, Wu, and other places, but now it is enough to live for 10 days. Similarly, if the people of the Dragon Kingdom cannot afford to buy food in the Dragon Kingdom, then they can buy a lot of food in other countries with the same money. As a result, the living standards of the people of the Dragon Kingdom will naturally rise. Every time Lu Feng thought of the bet he made with Zhen Yi, he would tell Zhen Yi again. Zhen Yi naturally admired Lu Feng. In the blink of an eye, winter turns to spring, summer turns to autumn, and it is the time of year when the grain is mature and harvested. What is different from previous years is that this year, as the number of farmers entering the job transfer hall has increased, and the original farmers who have transferred jobs have completed more and more job transfer tasks, there are already a lot of farmers with high transfer levels. And the amount of food they planted, that is, the Dragon Kingdom super seeds, was also increasing. After the super seeds are planted, the grain that can be harvested per acre can reach 2,000 kilograms, which was a very terrifying value during the Three Kingdoms period at the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. You know, the average yield of grain per acre is only 2 to 300 kilograms. If it can reach more than 300 kilograms, it can be called fertile land, and it requires excellent farmers to take care of it. As for the Dragon Kingdom, which produces 2,000 kilograms of grain per acre, it can be said that the yield per acre is nearly 10 times that of other countries. And unlike other countries that find places to farm outside the city, among the foreign states of the Dragon Kingdom, the entire southwest of Goguryeo County is the food base of the Dragon Kingdom. Coupled with the grain bases in Fuyu, Luyi and other places, the amount of farmland in Long Country can almost be regarded as the sum of the amount of farmland in the other countries. Obviously, this year is a harvest year for the Dragon Kingdom. Coupled with the Goguryeo Warhorse training base, after more than 2 years of development, the number of super warhorses trained by the new trainers has also risen sharply. Nowadays, almost all the top generals of the Dragon Kingdom have a super warhorse as their mount, and every horse is no different from the world-famous horses such as Red Rabbit Horse and Mou Kylin. Coupled with the sale and looting of Longguo's fine wine, Longguo newspapers, and rice paper among various countries in the past few months, Longguo has accumulated strong economic strength and has all the conditions to launch a war. After months of dormancy, Lu Feng couldn't help but want to continue to expand his territory. So, after the morning court ended, Lu Feng left Guoqia, Sun Yu, and others behind. After the other ministers left, Lu Feng said, "Feng Xiao, Wenruo, I am preparing to send troops to attack other countries. Do you have any suggestions?" Guoqia and Sun Yu thought for a while, and then Sun Yu took the lead and said, "Your Majesty, now is not a good opportunity to send troops. Although our country has stabilized all forces in the country after these few months of consolidation, and has accumulated, although the harvest of other countries is not as big as that of the Dragon Kingdom, it is still good. Now it is not only your Majesty, I believe that other countries are also ready to make a move. Just kill the first bird with a gun, and now the 8 countries in the world are standing side by side, and on the surface they are mutually exclusive. Contain the opponent, so whoever sends troops first at this time will become the target of public criticism." After listening to Sun Yu's words, Lu Feng felt that this was indeed the case, and asked, "Then what are your plans?" Sun Yu and Guoqia looked at each other. After a glance, Guoqia then stood up and said, "Your Majesty, I have a plan. Now the Wei state, the Wolf state and the Feng state are still in a joint state, and the blockade on our country has not been lifted. Therefore, I have come up with a plan: drive the phoenix and burn the wolf." Dances with Wolves. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 278. After hearing Guoqia's strategy, Lu Feng felt that the name was very powerful. Although he could roughly know what it meant just by hearing the name, he didn't know the specific method. So Lu Feng looked at Guoqia and said, "This strategy sounds good from the name, but I don't know what the specific plan is. Feng Xiao, please tell me." Guoqia naturally wouldn't just name it and ignore it. After listening to Lu Feng's question, he said, "Actually, the so-called driving the phoenix and burning the wolf means driving the tiger and swallowing the wolf. Find a way to secretly let the Feng country attack the wolf country. Once the 2 countries go to war, the defense line formed by Feng country and wolf country to block our country will naturally create gaps. The so-called dances with wolves means that when wolf country cannot hold on, our country can form an alliance with wolf country to jointly fight against Feng country. Wolf. Although our country has formed a defense line with Feng state and Wei state to jointly prevent our country from going south, our country and the wolf country actually have no hatred, so the wolf country will naturally not refuse our country's alliance with them." Lu Feng listened to Guoqia's words, nodded and said, "If Feng Xiao's plan can be implemented, it must be a clever plan. But the problem is that our country and Yuan Shao of Feng Kingdom have already formed a deadly feud, and Yuan Shao and Lu Buletin have formed the 2 lines of defense of the alliance. The relationship between their 2 countries must be the relationship between me and Yuan Shao is far better. How could Yuan Shao listen to me and attack Lu Buletin? Besides, even if Yuan Shao agreed, how could he defeat Lu Buletin's Bing Zhoulanqi and Lu Buletin himself with the strength of his Feng Kingdom? Where is a peerless general?" Guoqia said with a smile, "Your Majesty personally sent people to persuade Yuan Shao. Naturally, he would not agree to attack Feng Kingdom, and it is indeed difficult for a small Feng Kingdom to defeat Lu Buletin. However, your majesty, have you forgotten that our country still has an ally? When Lu Feng heard Guojia's words, a flash occurred in his mind, and then he asked, the ally Feng Xiao mentioned is Ma Teng from Liang State. Guojia smiled. Said, your majesty is wise, and what I am talking about is Ma Teng. We can send people to sneak into the Liang kingdom secretly, persuade Ma Teng to send envoys to the Feng kingdom, and persuade Yuan Shao to join forces with Ma Teng to attack Lu Buletin and drive him out of the Si prefecture. With Ziliang Iron Cavalry teaming up with Yuan Shao, plus Yuan Shao's General Chu Yi's first death warriors, they should be able to barely resist the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry. Moreover, Ma Teng's General Pang De, plus Yan Liang and Wenzhou, the combination should not be weaker than Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei, and there should be no problem in resisting Lu Buletin. In terms of planning, the two top counselors Tianfeng and Zhe Xiao have a better chance of winning against Chen Gong. Therefore, the Wolf Kingdom must not be an opponent. When the Wolf Kingdom can no longer hold on, His Majesty will send envoys to the Wolf Kingdom to form an alliance with Lu Buletin. By then, the Wolf Kingdom will be beaten to the point where it is unable to fight back, and with our country as a foreign aid, naturally it will not refuse. In this way, our country can easily crush the protective line formed by the Wolf State, Feng State, and Wei State, and send out troops freely. Lu Feng listened to Guojia's complete plan and kept nodding. Finally, when Guojia finished speaking, Lu Feng nodded again with satisfaction, and then said, okay, just do what Feng Xiao said. However, this plan must be kept strictly confidential and must not be known to anyone else. Therefore, how to implement this matter, Feng Xiao, you and Wenruo will discuss it together. And whether you should tell Ma Teng completely, you two should also think carefully and work out a specific and feasible action plan as soon as possible. Guojia and Sun Yu listened to Lu Feng's order, raised their hands together and said, I obey the decree. Then the two left the palace and conducted in-depth research on how to complete the plan. After 7 days, they finally formulated a detailed combat plan. After planning everything, Guojia and Sun Yu worked together again. He came to the palace and asked to see Lu Feng. The eunuchs in the palace had already received Lu Feng's order. As soon as the two prime ministers came to see him, they would interpret together as soon as possible, so they hurried to notify Lu Feng. Within a quarter of an hour, Lu Feng then he came to the palace and listened to Sun Yu and Guojia explain the complete action plan in detail. After the two of them finished speaking, Lu Feng said with satisfaction, Wenruo, Feng Xiao, you two will do it well done, thank you for your hard work. Sun Yu listened to Lu Feng's words and said quickly, this is the responsibility that the two of us should fulfill. In addition, in order to prevent any new actions from other countries from disrupting our plans, I have prepared a brochure with Feng Xiao, which contains a letter for Ma Teng. After asking your majesty to take a look, he ordered the red blood dragon rider to mount the golden eagle and hand the bag to Ma Teng. After seeing it, he naturally knew what to do. After Sun Yu finished speaking, he stepped forward and gave a tip bag to Lu Feng. However, Lu Feng did not take it. Instead, he said, don't worry about the two of you working on things. You don't need to read it. I believe in your plan. After a while, Feng Xiao can be sent directly to the red blood dragon rider. Sun Yu and Guojia felt Lu Feng's trust, and immediately thanked them and walked out. Then the soldiers of the red blood dragon cavalry took the kit and rode the golden eagle to the Liang kingdom. The golden eagle can travel thousands of miles. Soaring high in the sky, no one could detect him, and he was extremely fast. In less than 2 hours, he arrived at Liang kingdom, and after explaining his purpose, he handed the kit to Ma Teng. Ma Teng had already secretly formed an alliance with Lu Feng. Even though both sides have now ascended the throne and proclaimed themselves emperor from one of the princes, Ma Teng values a euro loyalty, and Lu Feng is Ma Chao's master. Naturally, Ma Teng will not tear up the alliance on his own. So he opened the bag of tips in front of the envoy. and read the above content very carefully. Then, Ma Teng found a man from the army who was quick to respond and eloquent, and asked him to serve as an envoy from Jingzayin, through Hungnong County, into Henan County, and in Luoyang meet the Phoenix Emperor Yuan Shao. After the Red Blood Dragon Rider completed the task assigned to him by Lu Feng, he declined the rest arranged by Ma Teng and rode the Golden Eagle back to the Dragon Kingdom. Because Jingzayin and Luoyang were together, Sisu was only separated by Hungnong County, so Ma Teng's envoy quickly came to Luoyang and met Yuan Shao. Although Yuan Shao and Ma Teng had not had any intersection before, after all, Liang and Feng both occupied Sisu. Zhou and Liang are close neighbors, so Yuan Shao was very polite to Liang's envoy. After Liang's envoy greeted Yuan Shao first asked, "I don't know what important matter Emperor Liang sent you to, shall I discuss it?" After hearing Yuan Shao's words, the envoy from Liang Kingdom said, "On behalf of Emperor Liang, I will form an alliance with His Majesty Emperor Feng to devour the Wolf Kingdom together." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 279. Feng Emperor Yuan Shao listened to the words of Liang Kingdom's envoy, squinted his eyes and asked, "I have formed an alliance with the Wolf Kingdom to jointly resist the Dragon Kingdom's army. Now, although Liang Emperor invites me to form an alliance with him again, it is okay, but if we attack after the alliance, the target is the Wolf Kingdom, so would na Euro trademark I become a treacherous person? Moreover, the elite cavalry of the Wolf Kingdom, Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry, is world famous and can be called the King a Euro trademark S division. The Emperor of the Wolf Kingdom, Lu Buletin, is also a peerless general. He is an enemy of the Wolf Kingdom. It's not a simple matter. Ma Teng had already issued a death order to the Liang envoy, and he must form an alliance with Feng Emperor Yuan Shao, otherwise he would not be able to escape death even if he returned, so it was naturally impossible for him to give up persuasion. So he remembered the words he had prepared on the way, and said to Yuan Shao, "Your Majesty's alliance with the Wolf Kingdom is definitely not as cost-effective as an alliance with the two countries. Although the Emperor of the Wolf Kingdom Lu Buletin is brave and invincible, he is not a good partner. Has Your Majesty forgotten how the original governor of Bingzhou, Ding Yuan, died? Lu Buletin was originally just a minor official in Bingzhou. Because of his strong martial arts, Ding Yuan appreciated him and promoted him to the position of chief secretary, and even adopted him as his adopted son. Was extremely kind to him. However, even so, when Dong Zhou came to Beijing and wanted Lu Buletin to work for him, he bribed Lu Buletin with just a red rabbit horse. Moreover, Lu Buletin not only switched to Dong Zhou's camp, but even killed him after the death of his adopted father Ding Yuan. He handed his head to Dong Zhou as a surrender letter. Lu Buletin, a traitorous and ungrateful person, whose wolf ambition is obvious, deserves the name of his wolf country. Your country has formed an alliance with Lu Bu. It is different from dancing with wolves. Moreover, as far as I know, your country and the Dragon Kingdom have a deep hatred. If the Dragon Emperor Lu Feng wants to attack the Feng Kingdom, he is likely to secretly form an alliance with the Wolf Kingdom. Given the capriciousness of the Wolf Emperor Lu Buletin character, as long as the Dragon Emperor allows him higher interests, he will definitely betray His Majesty directly and join forces with the Dragon Kingdom to attack the Feng Kingdom. Therefore, even if your country forms an alliance with the Wolf Kingdom, it is still like raising a wolf by its side, worrying about it day and night. If you are bitten by a wolf, it is better to kill the wolf directly. Yuan Shao was secretly shocked after listening to the words of Liang's envoy. It was not that he didn't know what kind of character Lu Buletin was, but he just felt that since the two countries had formed an alliance, they would not easily go back on their word. Therefore, he was not originally worried that Lu Buletin would betray this tripartite alliance, but after being told by the envoy from Liang Kingdom, his suspicious character was exposed again. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Lu Buletin would most likely bite him back. But even if Yuan Shao thought about it more and more, he was still a little worried that the three lines of defense that resisted Lu Feng would collapse, and the Dragon Kingdom would be able to attack the Feng Kingdom without any hindrance. So he pretended to be embarrassed and said, even so, if I send troops to join forces with the Liang Kingdom to attack the Wolf Kingdom, then won't the defense line formed by me, the Wei Kingdom and the Wolf Kingdom be gone? This defense line can block the Dragon Kingdom. In Jizhu and Qingzhou, we cannot afford to lose the barrier that prevents us from going south. After hearing Yuan Shao's doubts, the envoy from the Liang Kingdom said with a smile, why worry about this? Wait until your majesty helps our country conquer the Wolf Kingdom and carve up the territory of the Wolf Kingdom. Liang State can also jointly deploy a defense line with Feng State and Wei State to besiege Long State. As for the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry, your majesty does not need to worry too much. Although the Liangzhou Iron Cavalry of our Liang State is temporarily not as good as the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry in terms of combat effectiveness, it is still possible. The self-confidence is not much different, and the number of people is absolutely superior. Therefore, the task of intercepting the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry is left to our country. Your country only needs to send more troops to attack the city and the territory with our country. And tell the truth to your majesty, our country wants to attack the Wolf Cavalry. The country mainly wants the territory of the Wolf Kingdom, and His Majesty Emperor Liang had a grudge against Dongzhou before, so he wanted to vent it on Lu Buletin. As for the soldiers of the Wolf Kingdom, they are not valued by our country. Therefore, if we can capture them after the matter is completed, Emperor Liang promised to hand over the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry to the Feng Kingdom, and we, the Liang Kingdom, will never interfere. After hearing what the Liang Kingdom's envoy said, Yuan Shao's eyes suddenly dimmed. He had long seen the power of the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry, and after several battles with the Dragon Kingdom, he had already suffered enough losses from the Dragon City Iron Cavalry and the Red Blood Dragon Cavalry. Therefore, Yuan Shao has always dreamed of having a cavalry force under his command that could rival the king's division. Therefore, when he heard that Liangguo was willing to hand over the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry to him, he immediately became excited. If we can obtain troops like the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry, they will not be able to compete with the Dragon Cavalry, but they will at least be comparable to the Wei Cavalry. However, the alliance between the two countries was a major matter. Although Yuan Shao was moved, he still did not agree on the spot. Instead, he asked people to arrange for the Liang envoys to stay in Luoyang first, and he would discuss it with his advisors. But when he told the Liang envoy's proposal and his own thoughts, he was opposed by his two great counselors, Tianfeng and Zheshao. Especially Tianfeng, he is an upright person himself, not only outspoken, but also straightforward in speech, and does not save him any face because Yuan Shao became emperor. After Yuan Shao finished speaking, Tianfeng even said bluntly on the spot, Your Majesty must not be a treacherous person. Since the Feng Kingdom has formed an alliance with the Wolf Kingdom and the Wei Kingdom, it should not break the alliance without authorization. No matter how capricious the Wolf Emperor was before, it was him eat a Euro trademark as his own business. Besides, we have been in alliance for so long, and he has not done anything to harm our three kingdoms alliance. If His Majesty were to take the lead in tearing up the alliance and attacking the Wolf country at this time, would na Euro trademark His Majesty become a capricious person, and he would be so inconsistent with the three kingdoms? What difference does it make to Lu Buletin, who is a seller seeking glory? Yuan Shao came from a top family and was an arrogant person. He despised people like Lu Buletin who only had brute force and were capricious. So when he heard that Tianfeng compared himself to Lu Buletin, he suddenly felt angry. Fortunately, he had been the emperor for nearly a year and had some wealth. He did not vent his anger on the spot, but still glared at Tianfeng, then snorted and left alone. The alliance between Liang State and Feng State had to be put on hold for the time being. At this time, the envoy from Liang Kingdom had been staying in an inn in Luoyang. For 2 consecutive days, Yuan Shao did not come to him again to discuss the alliance. So he knew that although Yuan Shao had agreed to the alliance in his heart, he probably had not yet convinced his ministers. However, since he did not order to send him away, he must still be unwilling to give up, so there is no need for him to worry too much. Just when Yuan Shao was worried about forming an alliance with the Liang Kingdom, Guoqia, the left prime minister of the Dragon Kingdom, appeared alone in Jinyang City, the capital of the Wolf Kingdom, and swaggered to the Wolf Kingdom's palace. Three Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 280. As the left prime minister of the Dragon Kingdom, Guoqia was ranked below one person and above 10,000 people in the Dragon Kingdom. His status was so noble that even if he came to the Wolf Kingdom, he would have few enemies. Therefore, when the guards of the Wolf Kingdom palace learned that the slovenly young man in front of them, who looked young and smelled of alcohol, was the famous Guo Fengxiao, they did not dare to stop him. However, even though they did not dare to stop Guoqia from entering the palace, they still sent people to quickly run into the palace and report to the Wolf Emperor Lu Buletin. At the same time, the chief guard sent a guard to the Prime Minister's mansion to inform Chen Gong, Prime Minister of the Wolf Kingdom, of Guoqia's arrival. Therefore, when Guoqia entered the palace, Lu Buletin had already received the news and came to sit in the palace, waiting for Guoqia's arrival. Although Lu Buletin had not fought with Lu Feng since he became independent, but when the alliance of princes attacked Dongzhou, Lu Buletin, as Dongzhou's first general, fought against Lu Feng, the leader of the alliance of princes. Moreover, the two sides not only commanded large armies to fight, but they even had a one-on-one duel. Lu Buletin, who had always thought he was invincible before, finally suffered a big loss against Lu Feng. Not only did he not easily defeat Lu Feng, but he was defeated by Lu Feng after hundreds of rounds. Although he had always claimed afterwards that it was because the Bingzhou Wolf cavalry was defeated by the Red Blood Dragon cavalry and more than half of the casualties were lost, which caused him to panic and gave Lu Feng an opportunity, he knew in his heart that this was not the case. Even without the defeat of Bingzhou Wolf cavalry, he was exhausted after more than 200 rounds, but Lu Feng was still full of energy, and he would still be defeated before long. Therefore, Lu Buletin knew that, not to mention strategy and politics, at least in the martial arts in which he was most confident, Lu Feng was stronger than him. As a peerless military commander, Lu Buletin naturally knows how hard it takes to practice to have such a powerful force, so regardless of his position, he still has some admiration for Lu Feng. It is precisely because of this that when he knew that the young man in front of him was Lu Feng when Guoqia, his chief military advisor, not only did he not make things difficult for Guoqia, he actually had a good attitude. After all, Lu Feng was able to conquer the four states and become the most powerful vassal king in the world today, naturally without Guoqia's advice. Therefore, after Guoqia and Lu Buletin met, Lu Buletin took the initiative to ask Guoqia about his purpose. Guoqia smiled and cupped his hands and said, "Your Majesty, the Wolf Emperor, I came to the Wolf Kingdom. Naturally, I want to form an alliance with you on behalf of the Dragon Emperor and jointly destroy the princes of the world. Your Majesty, your martial arts is unparalleled in the world. It can be said that except for our Dragon Kingdom, apart from His Majesty, there is no rival, and there is no one who can compete with Bingzhou Wolf cavalry. If your country joins forces with our country, and the two most powerful military generals in the world command the most elite troops in the world, who else in the world can it be stopped? Besides, your country has Chen Gong, and I, Sun Yu and Su Shu are making suggestions for our two countries' coalition forces, then the annexation of the world is just around the corner." However, just as Guoqia finished speaking, Lu Buletin listened before he could speak. A loud shout came from the door, "Your Majesty, please don't believe Guoqia's sweet words. Now that he has sneaked into Jinyang alone, he must have a huge conspiracy, and his heart is to be punished." Hearing this, Guoqia turned to look at the palace gate, but the person who spoke was a middle-aged scribe. At this time, Lu Buledin said, "Why are you here at Gongda? And as soon as you come in, you say that Mr. Feng Xiao has a conspiracy." Guojia heard Lu Buledin's words and knew that this man was advising Lu Buledin and helping him win Bingzhou and 1/3 of it. "Chen Gong of Sizhu is here." When Chen Gong heard the guards report that Guojia, the left prime minister of the Dragon Kingdom, came to Jinyang alone and swaggered into the palace, he was confused and hurried over. On the way here, Chen Gong finally figured out Guojia's purpose, which was to confuse Yuan Shao and Cao. Therefore, as soon as he came in, he heard Guojia persuading Lu Buledin to form an alliance with the Dragon Kingdom. His suspicion was immediately verified, and he acted to stop it. At this time, Chen Gong had already entered the main hall. When he heard Lu Buledin's question, he explained to Lu Buledin, "Your Majesty, Guojia is deeply trusted by the Dragon Emperor, and he is also the Prime Minister of Zhou. Such a prominent person came to our country alone. The capital must have an ulterior purpose." And he persuaded His Majesty to form an alliance with the Dragon Kingdom, which is absolutely impossible. Our country has already formed allies with the Feng Kingdom and the Wei Kingdom, and it is just to jointly resist the Dragon Kingdom. How can we betray our trust and end up with the Dragon Kingdom? What about realliance with the Dragon Kingdom? Moreover, the Dragon Kingdom itself is already the most powerful country. If our country forms an alliance with the Dragon Kingdom, even if we can eliminate all the other 6 countries by then, when only our country and the Dragon Kingdom are left in the end, our country will how can it be the opponent of the Dragon Kingdom? Therefore, if our country wants to survive and dominate the world, it can only join forces with many smaller countries such as the Feng Kingdom and the Wei Kingdom to defeat the Dragon Kingdom first, and then fight with the other 6 countries. There is a chance to unify the world. As for Guojia, he is Lu Feng's chief military advisor. Please ask Your Majesty to order him to be killed directly. You can cut off one of his arms and it will be easier when our army goes to war with the Dragon Kingdom." Lu Buledin listened. After hearing Chen Gong's words, something moved in his heart. However, Guojia saw Lu Buledin's expression and guessed what he was thinking, so he said, "Since Jia dares to come to this Longtan tiger's den alone, naturally he will not die here easily. Since you know that I am His Majesty the Dragon Emperor's right-hand man, he has a very high status in his heart, but he never thought about how the Dragon Emperor would react if I died here. For Gong Sun Zan, His Majesty the Dragon Emperor could drive Yuan Shao out of Jizhu. If I die in the Wolf Kingdom, hundreds of thousands of people in our Dragon Kingdom will be killed. 10,000 troops will definitely crush the Wolf Kingdom at all costs, and will never leave you any hope of survival." As soon as the country said this, Lu Buledin and the other Wolf Kingdom officials present felt frightened. After all, the Dragon Kingdom is indeed powerful in military strength, and has many soldiers and generals. It was very possible, and even Lu Buledin didn't dare to act rashly for a while. Chen Gong saw this and tried to persuade him again. However, Lu Buledin was afraid of the strength of the Dragon Kingdom and never issued an order to surround and kill Guojia. Chen Gong sighed and could only watch Guojia leave the court. He said to Lu Buledin, "Guojia walked out of the Wolf Kingdom's palace alive, and this matter will inevitably be spread. Since everything is irreversible, Your Majesty also asks Your Majesty to deploy heavy troops in Hedong County to guard against a surprise attack." The Wolf Kingdom did not surround Guojia and kill him outside. It seems that people have already formed an alliance with the Dragon Kingdom, and now the Wolf Kingdom has been forcibly tied to the Dragon Kingdom's warship. The fact was just as Chen Gong guessed. The news reached the Feng Kingdom, and Yuan Shao panicked. He immediately called for the envoys from the Liang Kingdom to discuss the alliance and decided to unite with the Liang Kingdom to kill the wolf together.